This is an open letter to friends and family, and I guess neighbors now. Anyway, some time ago, so I'm talking about maybe about 10 years ago or so, there was this just in the society, this talk of gays and transgenders and blah 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 started pretty much not started overtly. It started way back in the what they call it, the stone wall or Jackson wall or some wall, that the first time the majority of society heard about, you know, pride. But the point is this: uh, at about 10 years ago, I was in. This was supposed to be a joke part of the deal. About 10 years ago, I was sitting with these older couple who have recently been introduced, and I was working for them over some matter. And sometimes in the middle, I just wanted to, as an older couple of a specific religion, of a specific ethnicity, from a specific part of this planet Earth, it was interesting for me to know their views. Just because there was a topic, which it still is, every day we are, transgender this, transgender that, it's all in the news. So at that time it was gay this, gay that. So I asked these newly, very respectable people, I asked them what do they think of the gay concept, of gay situation that has been, but I think I didn't say that's in the news and I'm a news junkie and I'm following it, and I didn't say that part. I just basically, if I'm a news junkie, you think everybody's a news junkie. So I didn't say that part. Right out of the blue, I said, what do they think of the gay concept and blah, blah, blah. That's it that time. And these couple were basically speechless. They didn't know what to say because and they ignored it totally and they started talking about something else. So it's my way. It was interest for me to know their concept of it, their understanding of it. How did they think? Because I know they're from this background like this and that, a very conservative background from a specific part of planet Earth. I wanted to know what do they think about the concept, the talk in the news and in the media. But I think they ignored it because they were shocked and they weren't sure whether I am telling them that I am gay or what is this? Why are you asking this uncomfortable question? Okay. No, I wasn't gay and I am not gay, but an uncomfortable question right now, which is in the news, is transgenderism. And I am, with regards to that I'm speaking, and no, I'm not a transgender either. So here's the thing. I just like to know people's views about things that are the societies are going through at that point in time of your history. So it's good to know what everybody thinks about certain thing, because you always want to think that maybe I'm missing something. I have developed a view based on my perspective in life. I have developed a view. Now I want to see what is your view, so see maybe I can redevelop my view, or maybe I got it right. Maybe I can reason with myself at least that I've got it right, because even if your view is opposite to mine, I want to be able to solve that equation. I want to see how I can at least for myself solve that equation that you don't believe what I believe, and how I'm right, because blah, blah, if I can solve that equation, I think that's a plus. We all should be that. We all should be willing to listen to the opposite view, just so at least you can reason with yourself why your view is correct, because you have a good answer for the opposite's question. opposite perspective. So here's the thing about transgenderism. Up to now, it was off subject. I think that ship has sailed. You have to basically, the society has to go along with it. Well, the reason for accepting these transgenders, non-genders, whatever. The reason for that is that I think that ship has sailed. The ship of let's stick with the truth. That ship sailed. You know where that ship sailed? When the first woman picked up a piece of charcoal, mixed it with some beeswax or some other oil, mineral oil, mixed it up and applied it in a very delicate fashion to her face to try to hide the truth. That ship sailed that. Hide the truth in the society, within a group of people, within a bigger. That ship sailed with that. That is the time that after you allowed women as a society to change their appearance, to pretend that they're healthier, that they're younger, that they're more attractive, that they're more fertile. If you allowed women to go down that route and make it socially acceptable for women to, by make believe, by applying by the use of paint, by the paint pigments, by the use of surgery, by the use of injection of chemicals, by the use of depositing bags of saline under the skin to pretend bigger tits or bigger ass or whatever. The point is this: you passed that point way back when. Is that when you allow some members of the society, you have allowed 50% of your society to make pretend by making it socially acceptable for all women to be heavily made up with heavy makeup. When you allow that and make that socially acceptable, then you're saying that make pretend is okay. Make pretend is okay. And now what has come after that, make pretend is okay, one of the things about the gays that the conservative society wasn't willing to accept, and many still in many parts of your world still do not accept, is the pretend part. That pretend when there are two males, one pretends to be the female. Pretend part. One part of it, forget about the physical act, but one part of it is the pretense part. They were okay even with the physical act in certain circumstances, but not to the point of making it a legal venture, as in like giving it, gay marriage. They were not willing to accept that, because I think it's less about the sex part of it and more about the pretense part of it, because there is another social contract, a social norm that is broken by let's pretend that one of the men is a woman, because neither one is attracted to women. But it's the pretend part that makes society cringe, in my view. The pretend that, and it started with the women and the makeup, as I said. The first time you allowed women to wear makeup in your, 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, the first time that you made it socially acceptable for women to enhance their appearance in order to pretend that they're younger, they're healthier, they're more fertile, the first time. And recently, an added addition for the recent 20-30 years in the Western society, at least, it's you're not allowed to ask a woman's age. It's sort of like, oh, you're pretending to be young, and we are supposed to go along with it, and to the point that not ask your age because we don't want to break the pretense. A 72-year-old is has made herself up, with makeup and with the kind of clothing that she's wearing. She's pretending, the 72-year-old is pretending she's 27, and everybody else has to go along with it. A 72-year-old woman is pretending with Botox injection and enhancement and this surgery and that surgery and the other surgery and makeup and this and that. She's pretending to be 27, and everybody in society has to go along with it, up to the point of you're not allowed to ask the woman's age. That's socially unacceptable. So you're going with the pretense. So what's the problem? Now this guy has a dick. He's pretending he doesn't. And he's wearing makeup, doing the same thing, going through the same routine that a woman does. Makeup and hairstyle and this and high heels that, and he's pretending to be a woman. That's just one step farther. That's an old 75-year-old woman who's pretending to be 27, and that's just a dude of the same age pretending to be the same one. Yes, the woman has an advantage. The 72-year-old woman has an advantage because, at least she's a woman. At least her feet are the same size and as the 27-year-old girl. But this dude is just one step farther. He's just got a penis and he's got a body that's shaped like a man. If it's pretense, it's pretense. I mean, it's just one small step farther. It's just a dick is involved. You see what I'm saying? The problem, in my view, now a lot of people are going to pick up a stone. Get your stones ready. In my view, the problem started with the women. Women have become very comfortable with lying, and in my view, it starts with the makeup business. That is basically at a very young age, girls are encouraged, not encouraged, but I mean, maybe the mother doesn't encourage, but the TV certainly encourages. The TV encourages, with makeup for babies and makeup for toddlers and let's pretend and blah blah blah, and selling them the idea that Barbie is a perfect doll, perfect dimensions, and this perfection is promoted all the time in TV and in media and in movies and all around in the society. This pretense is promoted. For heaven's sakes, you have pageants, beauty pageants for very young girls, and I have always wondering that what are you doing? Are we pretending that this is not sexual? I mean, are we pretending that a 7-year-old in a lingerie is, or in a very short dress or in a very flashy makeup, are we pretending that, again, with makeup, you're pretending to make a 25-year-old woman, you're increasing their age by makeup. That's the thing with makeup. It's paint, it's pigmentation. They change the shape and the structure of the face with painting. I don't know how else to put it. There are a lot of talented people on YouTube that are doing these jobs, these painting jobs, that you're amazed at what they can, make by just painting themselves. That is by, help of reflection of light and the lack of it, and that contrast, they can basically make young look old and old look young. So what you're doing in this instance is, in this time in 2023, year of our Lord, this makeup has been used to first make the 75-year-old look like a 27-year-old with the help of makeup and whatever else other things surgery wise necessary, and make the 7-year-old also put enough makeup on her and put her in very, 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 I want to say, sexy dresses. I am not sure what the sexy dress for a 7-year-old means, but you're putting these girls in that situation that is trying to increase their age, because her real shoes should be a flat shoe so she wouldn't fall down and break her head. But you put the small girl in high heels. Are you fucking kidding me? Pretending that she's 27 too. So 72-year-old wants to be 27, and a 7-year-old wants to be 27 as well. The society is concentrated on women between 20 and 30. Everybody must look like people, like women between 20 and 30, so they're fuckable. That's the whole thing. I'm sorry I'm saying this, but it's apparently women are worth their fuckability. If they're not fuckable, they're not worth much. So let's make everybody like a fuckable 27-year-old. Are you fucking kidding me? So everybody wants to be like a fucking fuckable 27-year-old girl. Well, Caitlyn Jenner wants to be one too. He just has one piece extra. I mean, a lot of these women, 72-year-old women, look much worse than Caitlyn Jenner or Bruce Jenner or whatever. A lot of them look worse than her, worse than him in a dress. So the point is this: so he can sell the Pretense much better than 75-year-old. They're both of their quest is to look like a 27-year-old girl. Both quests are the same. Caitlyn, what I'm trying to say is both Pretense are the same. They're both pretenses. They both want to look like 27-year-old. And even in some cases, I'm saying the man with the penis within her leg can pull that Pretense much better off than a lot of women of the same age. Because they're all pretense. If you accept one pretense, you can't say we don't accept any of the other pretenses. You have gone along with women wearing makeup and pretending. Well, congratulations. Now your men are also wearing makeup and pretending. I'm sorry, but this is I think, and this really affects the personality of the females of your society. When you allow when you promote makeup, pretense, this produces a certain kind of personality in women that is not so fuckable, because that pretense part is just that. It's pretense. And your people learn, your women are encouraged to lie about who they are, their physical appearance, which is the most important thing at first. They say first encounters are very important in business, in work, in in life. The first encounters are, they say, it's very important because the relationship is established based on the first contact, the first look. So you allow your woman to all try to look like the younger ones trying to look like older, and the older ones trying to look younger, and nobody is allowed to ask women's ages. So this pretense is okay, and has been okay for the past, let's say, 10,000 years. pretty much as soon as, I guess, larger societies formed, the women felt insecure. They felt what they are as women is not enough, so they try to enhance it in as a help, hamburger helper, as an enhancement for them to find a mate. So let's apply makeup, let's apply paint, and hey, when we turn off the light and he's fucking me, doesn't matter because the paint is not going to matter because we're fucking in the dark. The point is this is the perspective of women. I'm going to sell this man a young, healthy woman, which I know I'm not. I have become with makeup. And then when I hook the man, when we are in the bed, we're going to be doing it in the dark anyway. And at that time, if my mascara is running and my real age is showing, doesn't matter. This is what was promoted. This is where, Pandora's box had been opened and is still open. You allow and encourage, and society sort of expects young girls to, start wearing makeup early and start becoming sexy early with these beauty pageants and in promoting beauty pageants and do you mind a few of the guys want to get on that boat of wanting to look like a 27-year-old woman, a fuckable age. So the point is except that these are some guys who want to look like that. It just starts from, it's a slip. What I'm trying to say is it's a slippery slope. For so long you have allowed your women to pretend they're of a different age, they're more sexually attractive, they're more enhanced, they're more beautiful, they're more fertile by just application of anything and everything, from paint to plastic surgery to installing little bags of saline under their skin. Saline? The point is this: you have crossed the Rubicon at that point. You saying pretense in our society is okay. And it's so okay, pretense, that we are going to make it socially unacceptable for man to even ask the woman's age. So we are going along with the fact that you're 27-year-old dear, although I can see some wrinkles from under that, spackle jaw. So the point is this: at that point we accept it to go down this path. Now there are some dudes are pretending, and some girls pretending to be men. Everybody's pretending to be who they feel like being. So your choice. You either go along with it, or you say, okay, let's stop everybody pretending. Everybody should stop pretending, and women should not wear makeup either and pretend that they're prettier than they are, they're fertile than they are, they're healthier than they are. I mean, I personally I'm very, for good or bad, I feel very Amish. I think truth is more important. To stick with the truth in the society is more important. Because here's the thing, I mean, the man and woman part, it's a very sexual matter. It's all the woman and man, these two words that we are choosing, and we are choosing because it has to do with sex. We are trying to distinguish the two sexes. That's why there's two names for them: a man and woman. If they both were the same, we would, just say tree. This tree is tree. We all recognize what a tree is, so we don't need two words for it. You see what I'm saying? So, because we recognize there are two, therefore, historically has been two words for it: the man and woman. But yes, there are also Enoches. There is another, Enoch or Enoch or whatever it is. basically a castrated man, that, or a man who was born castrated or whatever. That's or of that sort, of that nature, not castrated but gay, or not gay but transgender. That has been always considered as, yes, it is present in a society. Yes, we try to work with them, but bringing the matter certain center stage is a little odd. Frankly, as an alien on your planet, I see the matter a little odd. It's a why separate the two, the man and the woman? Because then the man knows that I have this kind of tool and I am to do this job with the tool that I have, and I have to look for somebody with the opposite tool so we can reproduce with each other. That's the whole difference that they came up with between, for man and woman, was that, okay, one of these can only reproduce with one of those, so these are separate entities, so let's give them their own names, man, woman, because, they can only reproduce when they find another one from the other group, the opposite sex. So that was the main distinction. That is the main distinction. So, in other words, when you come up with the idea of let's pretend, that's when people of and in fact I saw an article in which they suggested that whether men have the right to reject transgender women if they meet or whatever, whether the man should say, okay, declare your gender before we get into bed, and that should not be right. That's not right. That's discrimination against transgender women. And you're thinking, so for 10,000 years, 20,000, I'm sorry, 300,000 years of evolution just as a human, and I'm sorry, a couple of billion years of evolution in animal kingdom, we have reached a point in which if I'm looking for a mate to reproduce, do I have the right to know, can I reproduce with this mate or no? Do I have the right to know whether you're carrying the same tool as me, although you're hiding it or you have removed it, but still you cannot reproduce? When I'm approaching you, I should not be able to tell if I can reproduce with you or not? Are you fucking kidding me? It's sort of like, so, and I cannot discriminate. So I have to, go out with you, and I have to approach you, and once I find out you have a penis, I shouldn't reject you because it would be socially unacceptable. But at the end of the day, isn't the idea is to get into this relationship for reproduction purposes? The idea of relationship was, always reproduction. That's the idea of a relationship between man and woman is always about reproduction. Please stop this nonsense that, no, we are just friends, fuck you. The idea is reproduction. Now you have some backups, you call friends, but the idea is reproduction. You have a boyfriend and then you have some friends, but the reality, those friends are backups for your boyfriend. If they get ahead in life, suddenly your boyfriend becomes your friend and your ex-friend becomes your new boyfriend. Anyway, the point is this: the idea is reproduction. So I think it's mad. You're taking pretense to the point of not only, here's the deal. This is why I say it's very similar. Salute. Imagine that at 70, you just approach the woman, in this case a woman who is 75, and with the makeup and the dress, she's pretending to be 25, and maybe you buy it, maybe you don't, but at, at, at no point should you actually ask her age, or, try to understand her age. That would be socially unacceptable, because it's, you don't ask a woman her age, and if she's pretending she's 27, you have to go along with the pretense. Okay? So you approach the 75-year-old woman, and suddenly you're in a relationship with a 75-year-old woman, and you can't say no because you're discriminating, because you got fooled by the pretense of the makeup and the plastic surgery and this and that. So they're saying that, once you get into it, you get into it. I guess that's your problem. Okay, you bought into the pretense, or she had the right to try to fool you about her age and her health and lack of fertility or all of that. So if you're okay with this, you're okay with that 75-year-old, so it's socially acceptable. This is what I'm trying to say. If it's socially acceptable for that 75-year-old to pretend that she's 25, and you have to go along with it, the same applies to the transgenders. It's like it's bad to say no to going out with a transgender once you find out they're transgender, because that would be discrimination. Folks, the whole idea of approaching the other sex was, because the other sex was necessary for reproduction. Now you're saying that, well, they may look like the other sex, but they won't actually be able to reproduce. And it's not socially acceptable for you to ask whether they can really reproduce, or we're all pretending. This is all a pretense. You can't ask that, because that's socially unacceptable. Just like it's acceptable to ask a 75-year-old woman her age, because you're not sure if she can reproduce or not. Therefore, is it worth your time or not? It's a mad rabbit hole. And it all started with allowing women, making it socially acceptable for women to wear makeup. 10,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, whatever. Makeup started it all. Started the business of pretense. If you want to stop other ones from pretending and trying to sell their pretense to us, to the rest of us, then you have to make it socially unacceptable for anybody to pretend in the society. Start with the women. Hey, it's not right for you to pretend that you look better than you do. Stop. But you're going exactly the opposite way, even in terms of, fatness and health and obesity. That the singer, the new singer Lizzo, that is promoted so much, and I think good for her. But the whole idea is, again, pretense. That looks good. I'm sorry. Does it? We pretended the 7-year-old can wear makeup and pretend she's 25 and sexy. Then 75 can wear makeup and do surgery and pretend that she's a sexy 25-year-old. When are you going to stop? You see what I'm saying? Now the guy with the dude wants to pretend he's a 25-year-old girl, with makeup and surgery and same thing, same procedure. I'm sorry. It's doable, but I don't think it's leading somewhere good, the pretense business. I think it's doable in the society with enough promotion and enough suppression. It's, it's doable, but I'm not sure where we are going as a society on earth if this matter is pushed. The idea of pretense is everything. You have a penis and we are pretending you're a woman, and you're 75 and we are pretending you're 25, and you're 7 and we are pretending you're also 25. And if everybody can be a 25-year-old woman. And I'm sorry, this might be a little crazy talk here, or wine talk. This pretense business, it's not the kind of road that you want to go down. It becomes, you're opening the door to lying in the society to each other. We have the right to lie. Because if I cannot, I'm saying this is an example, if I cannot reproduce with you, if the whole reason for my approach to you has been reproduction, if I cannot reproduce with you because you're lying about your sex, the very thing that I'm interested in, let's be frank, I'm not interested in, your high heels, but it's sex, it's reproduction, the whole thing that reproducing creatures are known by, reproduction. That's the whole reason the whole ecosystem exists. So if you can't know the sex of the person in front of you, and it's not right to ask, come on, seriously? You're promoting pretense. Just like, you promoted pretense that old women can pretend they're young. Now you're promoting and promoted the young kids beauty pageants, which is trying to pretend that very young kids are 25-year-old women. There is this obsession. Here's the thing. I'm sorry, but you're a very sexualized society from my perspective, because everybody in the society concentrates on women between 20 and 30, the right fuckable age. Everybody in the society wants to be near them, be like them, look like them. If they have anything close to that, put some makeup up on it and pretend it isn't. A girl of age between 20 and 30. So Caitlyn Jenner doesn't want to look like a 70-year-old woman. Caitlyn Jenner wants to look like a 25-year-old girl. That fuckable age. Everybody is in pretense, and the reason pretense to be one of them, woman in that category, women between 20 and 30, the reason is because these women, these entities in the society are reproductive. It's like fuckable age of women is this, so everybody in the society wants to look like them, pretend they are them, including Bruce Jenner. Because the women between 20 and 30 get too much attention, again because of sex, both from men and women. They get too much attention. Believe me, my sister had everybody's attention in the house. I've noticed it's like Whether we existed or not was not that important. She has to get extra attention. And I've seen this multiple times with multiple women, and you see this in Karen joke that has recently been in the social media. Karen is a symbolically a white woman who uh, who wants attention, and and that is everybody has to stand on their everybody has to tiptoe around a privileged white woman of between reproductive age of between 20 and 30, because we have given too much attention to them, so they feel neglected if everybody doesn't tiptoe around them. I know I dealt with them in the Western society, and they're very difficult. You really tiptoe around a woman between 20 and 30, between 20 and 40, because they're very privileged, especially a white woman between 20 and 40 in Western society. You have to tiptoe around them because everybody in the society loves them or supposed to love them because they're of reproductive age. They can lie, cheat, and steal and get away with it because they got a pussy of reproductive age. You see what I'm saying? That's why many in your society, even men in your society, want to look like, pretend that they are a woman between 20 and 30. Many, even men. Not only up to now that you had their problem was with the 75-year-old woman who wanted to look 25, and the 6-year-old girl whose parents wanted to make her look like she's 25. Now, men want to look like women, hot women, as they say themselves. That's why gay men go to so much trouble of bodybuilding, because they also want to, look sexy like a woman between the age of 20 and 30, 20 and 40. So that's the problem. There is too much sexualization of society, too much concentration on sex, and who has the most attention in terms of, sex is women between 20 and 40, 20 and 35. And this is why I'm saying is because simple. If young men want to be with these women, old men want to be with these women. Sometimes women want to be with these women between the age of 20 and 35 because of fertility, the concept of fertility. So everybody is attracted in the society, men and women are attracted to women between 20 and 35. Therefore, these women become Karens. You have to tiptoe around them, or else they call the police on you, or they start screaming at you, and everybody in the society looks like it was your fault she's screaming. Not because she's crazy, but because it was your fault. So this becomes, and if there is a domestic disturbance, they come and tell the man to find a bench and sleep on it, and kick out the man if there is a public disturbance in the house or domestic disturbance in the house. They come and ask the man to leave, and they let the woman stay in the house. Sort of like, what's the difference? There is a difference. You see what I'm saying? I'm sorry. That's why you have the entitled women. And that's why you have the transgender issue. That's why you have these old women who try to stretch their skin to the point of breakage on their face and their body everywhere, trying to stretch their skin as much as everybody wants to look like women between 20 and 35, and you wonder why your women between 20 and 35 are very difficult to get along with, because the law is on their side and everybody gets on their hands and knees when they see a young pussy, and that's your social issue. But again, this also goes back to the first problem was that you allowed pretense by allowing women to start wearing makeup. All that 10,000, 20,000 years ago. The new problem is that, so the pretense started there. And it's just the next step is that now the men also wants to pretend they are within that age range of the opposite sex. Everybody up to now wanted to look like that age range of their own sex. Now some men want to look like that age range of the women's. My perspective, I'm sure you guys have understood that I'm a little Amish in this matter. It's let's stop the pretense all around. Stop pretense. Women should also socially be unacceptable for women to wear makeup. It socially should be. It shouldn't be a legal matter. They should be a social matter. And this is where TV and cinema, movies come into play. What they want becomes social norm because they keep showing it and becomes familiar with people, ear-wise, understanding-wise, becomes very familiar. So they started and they keep repeating it and becomes very normal for the society. I think if they want to say, okay, pretense is enough is enough, nobody should pretend about any matter, so it's not okay for even women to wear makeup and pretend that they are healthier than they are, than they really are, or younger. It's not socially acceptable for women also to do surgery to pretend that they're younger than they are. It's not socially acceptable for women to try to enhance their body. If media and social media start accepting or promoting the idea that pretense is not a good idea, not even for women, then maybe you can say, okay, also men, if you feel like a woman, good for you, but socially it's not, we're not going to put you on center stage. You can be there in the middle somewhere and we accept you, but not center stage, because we have decided that pretense is not acceptable, and we don't even accept our women wearing makeup and pretending they're more fertile than they are, or healthier than they are, or younger than they are. We stop that as well. All pretense must stop. That's a good idea. But then, you have a whole industry of makeup and makeup business and, capitalism. These are all the other, my last video was about how capitalism is the reason for drug use. The stress involved within consumer capitalism is the reason for so much drug use. And we see that this pretense business has created an industry, a large industry around it with a lot of money involved. Therefore, you can say, capitalism, consumer capitalism, is also the reason for this much pretense business going on, to the point that men are now involved in trying to pretend they're a different person or a different gender just by use of makeup and other stuff. And like, okay, do you want a society based on pretense? Pretense is a lie. When I say pretense is a lie. When you're pretending, if you don't have the tool that every other woman has, that is, a working, birth canal, then your relationship, a working birth canal. I'm just going straight for it. A working birth. If you don't have a working birth canal, a working reproduction instrument, then you're not of that gender. You're pretending to be of that gender. And I'm sorry if the makeup industry is going to suffer, but and the surgery industry is going to suffer. uh, uh, do it, but quietly, please. I mean, I'm not saying nobody should, pretend that. But the point is, if you make it socially unacceptable for anybody to try to pretend that is of a woman of a reproductive age, if you make it socially acceptable for people to pretend they're a different age or a different health status or a different uh, level of beauty, more beautiful than they really are, if you make that socially unacceptable, then you can also say, yeah, you also cannot, by the way, you also cannot pretend to be of a different sex. You want to go sleep with a woman, marry another woman, you're a woman, you want to go sleep with another woman, or marry another woman, okay, fine, but it's not socially very, very acceptable. I know, I'm sorry, if you do that, at least, the pretend business goes out of business. Pretense is a bad thing for a society. Pretense is a lie. Pretense, that's the whole idea of pretense, is a lie. You're something that is, you're pretending that is not. That means you're telling a lie. Why is lying acceptable? Why we are trying to make a lie acceptable? And I say pretend is because birth canal. You see, if you have a birth canal, you're of this sex, and if you don't have birth canal, you're of that sex. And everybody should stop pretending that they have a birth canal. In fact, a very fertile birth canal. So, somebody at the age of Bruce Jenner should not try to pretend she's a sexy 25-year-old or a 35-year-old, because he's actually like 60-year-old, a 60-year-old of the opposite sex. You have to. This is unacceptable. This is because pretense. You're promoting lying in your society. Period. You're promoting lying. It's like, yes, you can pretend. We all accept that from today you have a birth canal. No, he doesn't. Nobody can reproduce with Bruce Jenner, who doesn't have their own birth canal. Nobody who doesn't have their own birth canal can reproduce with Mr. Bruce Jenner. Because between the two of them, one of them has to have a birth canal. And Mr. Jenner doesn't. Love the human society. So interesting. From afar. So interesting from afar.